Hi. I have a memoir product. Thanks, I really like that. Followed by some poems. Since I just want to kind of read it straight through, I'll warn you about the poems. I'm sort of obsessed with this cornfield behind my house. There's a lot of poems about this cornfield, but we'll start off with a memoir product called On Wesley's Farm. Wesley Langdell's barn and paddock are across the street from the Morrisville Price Chopper. He sold his southern hayfield in the early 60s to developers who built the Ames Plaza, Price Chopper, and McDonald's. I gaze at his place from the parking lot where I shop because I cherish things that are about to vanish. Wesley's older than 80, and I've never seen his compact frame in anything but a forest green work shirt and matching pants, a mechanic's uniform. But there's no emblem or name in cursive writing on his chest. He keeps 9 geese, the same shockingly clean white as Wesley's tousled hair. The geese sleep beside Route 15, beaks tucked in wings, just inches from the inbound lane. This spring, Wesley had 2 new foals, for a total of 12 horses. The horses hoard their elegance among the battered buildings. They prance and posture within the rickety fence. They nudge brown hay. They gleam in sunlight next to the rusted spreader, a slanted silo. Though it's early June, and Wesley's pulled the hay bales away from the foundation of the farmhouse, he hasn't yet torn the plastic sheet stapled over the front door. Today, after I showed the cashier my Price Chopper card and sacked up my groceries, I emerged from the store to see Wesley moving hay on his tractor, delivering a speared round bale to a group of superior mares. I watched him move forward in reverse, finagling the delivery. For one thing, the horses were too close. By the time I'd reached the car and slammed the hatch, the bale was off the spear and the horses crowded him as he unwrapped and gathered up the plastic. I couldn't hear his tractor idling because a log truck jammed its jake brake, sliding between me here in the parking lot and Wesley there among the remains of his farm. There's about 100 cars here every time I shop, and the McDonald's across in what was also his former hayfield always has a string of patrons lined up at the drive-thru window. Beyond McDonald's is McMahon Chevrolet. Once I asked Wesley, I called him up. I said, "You don't know me, and it's none of my business, but I heard a rumor that you're selling to Walmart." He said, "No, they haven't asked me, but it would." Walk and Roll, where I buy dinner when I'm tired, and Mobile, where I refuel, and Kinney Drug, where I get pictures developed, are what Wesley could see if he sat atop his prettiest mare and looked over his former hayfield. Now Wesley has disappeared behind the silo, and I am standing in the parking lot, gazing at his land. "I'm tired," is what he said. I said, "I'm from Pennsylvania, and where I come from, they put a lot of it under cement." I can't see him at all now. I'm the one with milk in one sack and bananas in another. He's the one who's gone to check on his newest foal. What will I buy where his barn used to be when he's no longer here? This is called the Academy of Hay. The farmer squats in the dirt beside the tractor. Using a twig, he draws away to enter the field. For the next 2 hours, I'll drive 25 miles, mowing circles within circles. On the pond, I'd watch ripples erupt and vanish, thinking, fish postulants. Sister Bernard Mary once told me, a journey that begins with him leads to him. And it's true of the ryegrass, with its 3 miles of root hairs per day. That's 6,603 miles per season, traveling all that way and going nowhere. We used to make fun of something called the corn joint, the lignin keeping the stalk upright, stationed despite wind. The farmer, stoic mostly, suddenly spoke. Could you stand in a cornfield for 3 months? Ah, but our potato fork did. It remained through the winter an effigy for where we did stand and bend and drive around with the cultivator all those months, sowing, then harvesting. Yeatsian, a tattered coat upon a stick. He grows more like a scarecrow, hair amuck, grease on his pants hip when he's pinned to his tractor haying. That tilted fork, still stuck in February, buried to the grip, represents everything. His investment and my investment, our stubborn stab in this endeavor, our vulnerability to the elements. Well, I'll speak for me. Whatever comes or falls or fails, I'll feel. Every year, the chopper devours 80 acres and makes confetti, takes all the field gave except a single cornstalk. Its calligraphic leaves askew, tassels slanted, an ideogram for the word auspicious. The wind in its papers scratches the stunned afternoon. The chopper's raucous blare is distant, dimmed to the size of a fly's buzz. A sound I want to crush with my boot, but can't. The cornfield. How I miss the cornfield, the lap of snow it held over cardboard-colored mud. How tires crisscrossed over imprinting and hydrous ammonia, genetically modified seed, atrazine mist. How I miss the tall stalks falling in the maw of his chopper and its shreds snowing from the back of loaded trucks barreling back to the bunker. How I miss the geese settling in for a caucus and the 2 boys skulking down with guns as long as their attention spans. Most of all, I miss the rainstorms we heard, breathing in the corn leaves, heard as wind and water pelting their ragged belts, crossing from far afield toward us, heard as it approached, heard as it arrived, then felt, pecking at our hair and shoulders as if we were the last stalks in the cornfield. First, do no harm. The heart is a swarm of bees, its queen smothered inside. The cornfield is, in its other life, an auditorium. The deer, they all have walk-on parts. At night in the Scotch pines at the edge, the crows joke about men with rifles, trucks, tractors, the understudies. I mean, if I had to guess, they know about abandoning the script, about the massive, unappeasable silences, about pretending to be willing, about rehearsing the end. And there were easy 100,000 leaves that fell, like reminder notices, little cues. No one saw the moose stagger through the corn. We just followed the bent stalks into an understanding. We weren't nitpicky or petty, just somehow not enlightened enough, frightened enough. We are surrounded by creatures that meet and mate and die with more finesse, even if we don't meet, even if the whole valley hears us. Three more. Stuck. The way people used to harvest corn was to make big piles in the field of them. It's a stook. Corn shocks collapsed in each other's arms. Expired decor. Trees, each a scheme to climb from the ground to a cloud. As of this writing, about midway. The town plow, with its drawn-in wing, the kind of act a killdeer uses to distract from the nest. We're not clobbered by breath-weighted things, flakes of snow, or we are. Carbon parts per billion. You who find this in what we've left, I love you. I'm sorry. Migration of baling twine. I have seen it in the truck bed, one fat spool quiet as a salt block, then rigged in the baler and sent to bind each bale twice. I have grabbed it like a man's suspenders, yanking him to me. Look here. Or sultry. Sweetheart, where's my kiss? I have seen twine unhold with one touch of knife, or in a bind his car key can saw through, divided the packed bale splays. I have seen these agricultural spaghetti, orange plastic, dun burlap, fungicidal green, drawn off 30 open bales, grouped in hanks, slumped over a nail, or hastily piled, as on slaughtering day we'll have a heap of chicken heads, a heap of yellow feet. Here's a month's worth of yanked, chucked twine, plus milk filters, the newspaper, Dunkin's cups, mastitis syringe, purple latex gloves shoved in old grain bags for the dump, from which I have seen him take a bunch and deftly twist a halter for the calf, or link 6 to make a lead, or tie the milk house door open so the flies can go. One loop from knob to hook. Flapping tarps quit with a quick passage through the grommet, cinch it down. Hoses hold their ovals with 3 snug wraps of a strand. I have seen it eel its way from one lump sum to plenty of prudish sutures, like 20 extra fingers pinching, as if the farm were a wound or a bird they keep trussed, keep from blowing, crawling, falling, growing away. Last one, field work. Okay. He shows me where to enter the field, which direction to mow first. Then he gives me 40 days of silence, benign quiet, apart from the tractor, a pasture where I can recall all there was. Aboard the wide mothership Winter, my first Quaker meeting. All of us gathered, nothing said aloud. Later in the same hayfield, Believe, tracked out in boot prints. Whomever leapt into the letter, doubled back to make one part touch another. Both instrument and ink, their whole self, written in snow. Not disappearing ink, disappearing paper. Thank you. Our final reader is Jacob White.